Hello there, Mr. 411.
What's up, Zach?
Not much.
All right, man. Look, we back, man. We back in the building. The Sports
Yes, we are.
Brothers. Man, you had a good weekend?
I had a great weekend. We won our basketball game and I got to get a lot of rest. So, great weekend. How about yourself?
Man, it was excellent, man. I had actually was a part of a spades tournament. Uh,
How how'd you do?
Not well, but you only can play with the cards you dealt. You know what I mean?
I'm going to assume it's your partner.
No, they weren't my partner. It's just you play with the hands you dealt, man. I had a couple of hands with two spades. A couple crucial hands too. And I was like, man, how can I get just two spades and one of them is an eight?
Well, I'm going to help you out, Mr. 411. I'm going to tell you like my daddy told me a long, long time ago when it came to spades. Spades is for kids. You need to start playing bid whist. That's for grown folks. Much, much better.
Oh,
Less frustrating than spades, where you don't have to worry about them bad hands.
yes, sir. All right,
It at
man.
least gives you a fighting chance.
Okay, I'm gonna take your dad words on that and get acclimated to that game. But man, we're speaking of like spades and all that kind of stuff, man. We are on something new, Zach. Something old, but something new, and we'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Okay.
And but we also going to talk about Kevin Durant. He's going to be the focal point of our conversation for the first hour and the second hour.
Awesome.
It's amazing how we can get 2 hours worth of Kevin Durant in, but it's necessary, and we're going to get that done because football's on the horizon, and we need to, go ahead and knock all our basketball out until we hear more on the Kevin
Don't
Durant.
forget
But we're
about
just going to
I
what?
say don't forget about baseball. Our Mets and Braves start today.
Well, yeah, that's something else that we're going to talk about early in the show as well. And so, with the baseball heating up, we're gonna talk about that. Talk about some more, like I said earlier, Kevin Durant, and man, that's gonna be, and also our news and notes. There's a couple of interesting things coming up on that too. And so, it should be a great 2 hours, Zach.
Well, thank you. I hope it is.
All right. Well, we welcome everybody to the 411 Sports World Show. Today is July 11th, and as always, Zach, are you ready?
Of course I am.
All right. Welcome to the show, Sports Brothers.
Such a nice intro. We really got to thank the production team.
I tell you, man, that beat goes hard, man. As they say out there in the streets, man, it goes hard, Zach.
It does.
Yes, sir. Well, welcome to the show, everybody. Sports Brothers. He's Zach. I'm Mr. 411. Please do the following.
Yes. Please do that. We like seeing those numbers go up. And thank you to everyone because the numbers are going up. Much appreciated.
Exactly. Much appreciated. And also, Zach, check this out, man. We're on the social media page. We started our Instagram page. We're posting on Facebook. We're posting on Twitter. And you used to say this word, Zingo TV. You remember you used to say that a lot, right?
I did.
Well, But I'm gonna tell you where we are now, Zach. And this goes back to the spades and the Bitwist conversation. We are now on Blackjack TV.
Blackjack.
Blackjack.
Oh, I like
Yes,
blackjack. The jack.
that's right. We are on the Jack. Blackjack
Blackjack sounds
TV.
good.
That's right. Go to blackjacktv.net. Check out Sports Brothers there as well. YouTube, all the other social media outlets. But we thank Blackjack TV for picking up Sports Brothers. If you go to blackjacktv.net, they have a lot of programming there, which includes Sports Brothers and a lot of other of our shows too that's coming up and that's currently going on, like the Laker Locker Room and so on and so forth. So when you go to that page, you'll see, scroll down by halfway, you'll see the TV guide. and then just kind of scroll from there on that image, and you'll see the TV guide, and you'll find us on there. So Blackjack TV, we thank Blackjack TV.
Thank you. I lost a lot of money in blackjack, but hopefully this will be the opposite.
Yeah, you're gonna get it back, Zach. You're gonna get it back because Blackjack
Sounds
want
good.
to see a lot of Zach. Yep. All right. So now, man, let's get into the news and notes.
So many
Get into
ways
the
that
news and
could
notes.
go that would probably be bad for us. But yes, thank you.
Look, interesting, right? All right, man. Tennis is over with here. Wimbledon, and man, the man did it again. Another championship there for Novak uh, Djokovic, and as you can see there, he won Wimbledon again, and he is nipping at the heels of Rafael Nadal with the Grand Slam titles. Just one more, and he'll tie Rafael, and with two, he'll pass him. So, and both of them are playing well. Nadal had to step out due to an injury, so he didn't compete in the semis, I believe. So these guys can meet. They can meet in the U.S. Open, New York City. So it's an interesting race there. But congrats to Novak in his victory.
I, I have to be honest. I kind of found out within this last week. I think when Djokovic was going for it. I hope I said that right. I didn't realize Nadal was the leader in men's Grand Slams. And that's probably been a while ago, but I remember uh, when he could really only win it to French, and that was his main thing.
Right
He
on the
does have a
clay.
lot of French titles, but I'm I'm like shocked, and I we don't have a tennis expert. I'd be interested to see, do tennis experts consider him to be the greatest of all time, since he's really as you said, a clay expert, French expert.
Well, man, I tell you what, those 21, those 22 titles, you know, would make it an interesting debate. You know what I
Yes.
mean? And he didn't win 22 uh, French Opens,
No, he
and
he
but
didn't.
yeah,
He
yeah,
he has the,
but
what
he's
do they
awesome,
call it,
man.
career Grand Slam. No, he
Yeah,
absolutely is. I just it, it just, I wouldn't have, if someone had asked me before this last week, I wouldn't have, he wouldn't have came to my mind for. I probably would have still said Sampras.
yeah. And the main thing, the key thing about both of those gentlemen, man, they're like fine wine. They're still rolling. They're pulling the LeBron James. You know, they're still rolling at the later
Uh,
stages of their career.
uh, who is the guy? Curios. I think is that who lost in the final? He had a meltdown or
Yes.
something. Said a woman was what, had drank 700 glasses or something of alcohol. He's an interesting
Something like
individual.
that, Zach. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
All
definitely
right.
entertaining. That between the leg shot was awesome too. I can't remember who did that in the past. I think it was, might have been Courier or somebody like that. They used to do that back in the day. But he's a good player too. So congrats to Novak, and that race continues, man. Let's slide over to the NFL real quick, and let you touch on this one just real quick. Dwayne Brown. Now he's in a Seahawk uniform in his image, but he is not a current Seattle Seahawk. Just to say that for my Seahawk fans out there. But he was arrested for carrying a gun while going through TSA. So we don't know what's gonna come from that, but nothing good can come from that, right, Zach?
Well, this is what I'm gonna say about kind of all people when it comes to this, Mr. 411. Do they not understand that America changed after 9/11, and that the security things that we had in place before, or maybe lack thereof, it's not like that. We're like, we have security. If you do stuff like that, I don't know how you expect to get through. You getting stopped. Like, you not sneaking it through any of them places anymore. It's gonna be extremely difficult. Why would you do it to yourself? Like like, come on, dude. Like, the risk ain't worth whatever the reward is. If he was that concerned, I guess, about his safety, maybe he needs to travel private or something. What is they call it, PJ? I'm just amazed that people keep doing this stuff.
Yeah. Well, some people don't learn their lessons, man, and not learn from other mistakes. You know what I mean? You gotta learn from mistakes that other people make, and but they're not. I guess, hey man, I guess some people think they can get away with things, but I wouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't try that. I'm barely
Because
carrying I'm barely carrying my toiletries on a flight, man. Nonetheless,
well,
a weapon.
I was gonna say, I know we with Blackjack TV, so maybe we getting a couple more dollars now, but I'm sure we ain't got Dwayne Brown money, and he's probably getting suspended. What I'd say at least 2 games, right? But it's probably going to be 4 games, and Commissioner Goodell really ain't even got to think hard about this. So I'm gonna go with he's a pretty good tackle. Um, that's probably gonna be what at least $1 million for him, if not 4 million, because he's probably good enough to make 17 million in a season. But we'll go at least $1 million. You couldn't do nothing better with $1 million. Like he could have contributed that to the Sports Brothers show.
Hey, that'd have been a great contribution.
Yes, absolutely. Instead,
Yeah,
well, he'll be giving it to some charity, so I guess that is good. But like, dude, you gotta be kidding me.
yeah. As you like to say, Zach, stop playing. Stop playing. All right, we gotta get to the Major League Baseball, man. Here's the according to Fox, right? Here's the power rankings right now, Zach. So take a look at these power rankings. You have the Yankees; they've been strong all year. Houston,
Woo!
the Dodgers, the Braves have moved up above my Mets, so at the 4-5 slot. The Padres, the Red Sox, Phillies. Uh, that's surprising to me, but I haven't really been into it like that yet. But Phillies, and then you have Milwaukee. I actually saw them play in Atlanta on Mother's Day, and then
Oh,
Seattle's down there at number 10. So that's the top 10 right now, Zach.
well, if I was gonna chime in, is as nice as that graphic looks. I think I told you last week. I didn't realize the Mets had been without their 2 aces. And Scherzer, of course, pitches today against the Braves. That is very disappointing because I think we closed it down to 2 games within the Mets. Scherzer, I'm sorry, Scherzer is outstanding. Uh, if we score 2 runs, that will be phenomenal. I would, my guess would be the Mets are going to be pretty good down the stretch. I know they have some other individuals that made the All-Star game for them, and they have another young pitcher that's out. I can't think of who he is. Maybe you'll know, but the top of their rotation is better than the top of the Braves rotation. That will probably be the difference if I was just gonna spitball it, because as you remember from Bases Loaded, it is a marathon and not a sprint. Mets have
Right.
a good chance to make the World Series, and New York World Series wouldn't be bad, though the MLB probably hopes for a LA New York World Series, and they wouldn't care if it's the Angels Mets or the Dodgers Yankees, as long as they could get both those TV markets.
Yeah. But as you can see right there, the standings at Braves are 1.5 behind. It wasn't that long ago that the Mets had a 10.5 game lead. And so the Braves went on a tear. And it's kind of funny. You're talking about my team, and I'm talking about your team. But the Braves have made a major run. They have a lot of players going to the All-Star game as well. And you know, as far as me, this Zach, I've been following the Mets for a long time,
You
and
have
we have a history of failing to get things done, and so I'm not surprised that that 10 game lead evaporated. And as you stated, though, we do have issues with our pitching staff, with injuries, but Jacob DeGrom and Scherzer, we
yes,
get them right.
Degrom.
Right, we get them right. Along with Pete Alonso, who's in the home run derby. But we if we get that right, I think we can continue. At worst case, I think both of our teams are going to make the postseason, and
Almost definitely.
one of our teams will win the East. You know what I mean? That's the
And
way it's shaping up.
I'm gonna just chime in because I have been following the baseball thing. I don't think I don't think the Mets have failed as much like you are without your two aces. Like those dudes are a hell of a 1-2 punch. Uh, the fact that you're still up there speaks a lot because I think the Mets still have the second best record in the NL, and the Braves got a Acuna back, and they stabilized the lineup. And look, if I'm being fair, they fed on the Nationals. They fed on the Phillies weren't necessarily great at the time. They fed on the Marlins, and then they got some Pittsburghs and other teams in there that you got to get your record fat, and now they're more in the meat of their schedule. So it's been as I said, I go back to your old bases loaded, but you know how it is. Individuals get on the hot streak, and then it seems like you hit everything. Your pitchers strike out everybody. Then all of a sudden you hit that cold streak, and you can't do anything.
Yeah, I couldn't stand it.
And
I can't believe I played that game and played the whole 162 game season on that base loaded game. But man, I haven't really had that kind of time in my life to do that. Back
it,
in those days,
it,
but we did. We had time.
well, here's what is funny. We played video games like that and still went outside and played and still communicated with people face to face.
Amazing, isn't it?
So, yes, times
Yeah,
have changed.
yeah, it has. It really has. And speaking of change, man, the NBA, Zach, they're looking to change more things. They're looking to change the format again. Uh, they dibble and dabble talking about this one for a while, but it looks like the NBA Board of Governors, man, they're expected to approve a play-in tournament. So we already got a play-in tournament that was added. I mean, a play-in, whatever you want to call that, right? The 9 and the 10 seeds, and now they're
Yes,
looking to add the play-in tournament as part of the regular season, uh, as brought to us by Adrian Wojnarowski. So uh, it looks like the NBA wants more games and more play time, or whatever you want to call it. So be interesting to see how all that unfolds. Does that mean they're going to have a break in the season for this, which gives winning teams the opportunity to maybe rest and then have some
that
teams
would
at
be
the bottom
nice.
of the league play this? It'd be good if it rolls that way. I may actually be on board with that. We'll
Well,
say.
I just like the fact that I'll give the NBA credit uh, that they're maybe hearing their fans say that they don't feel like they're necessarily getting enough from the stars with them taking games off. So they're trying to do something to make the experience better for the fans. And I must say the NBA tends to do this. Like they try to do everything they can to make it fan friendly. So I don't know if it'll work or not, but just good job by the NBA to do this.
Yes, sir. Hey, man. It'll be
So
fun to
glad,
play with, right?
so glad I didn't have any of the family watching the show. All right,
So, look, man, we have another sponsor, and
I see.
you talking about fun to play with. Check out
No, no,
www.thepennyplatter.com. Check it out. You want to have some extra entertainment in the house. Check out thepennyplatter.com. It's make you not only will you be happy, Zach, but your lady be happy as well. And check them out, thepennyplatter.com. A lot of items out there to choose from for his and her enjoyment. www.thepennyplatter.com.
Sorry for anyone out there that was expecting commercial. There are no commercials for this.
We cannot have a commercial for it. I begged for one, but it wasn't happening. Uh, you know, I don't think Blackjack TV is ready for that. But the Patty Platter. We thank the Patty Platter Boutique. There's all the information. Ladies, check it out. Gentlemen, check it out and
Our
have fun.
ratings just
The
went
Panty
up.
Platter Boutique.com. Check it out. I'm telling you.
our
Telling
our
you.
ratings just went up. I expect a lot of messaging after the show today.
Yes, sir. All right. Man, Zach, Kevin Durant, he's in the sports world. I mean, he's front and center in the basketball world, sports world too. But man, we already know that he requested to be traded, and there's several teams in the league that have inquired about Kevin Durant. And according to all the reports, his top two are what the Phoenix Suns and the Miami Heat. That's the top two for Kevin Durant on his wish list. But
Yes.
just like I can speak for experience, my Christmas wish list, there was a lot of things I wanted, but I didn't get everything. You know what I mean? I remember the year I got Mike Tyson Punch Out. I was the happiest man, the happiest young man in the world when I woke up and opened up that box, that small little package, and it was Mike Tyson Punch Out. And I played that game all day long. Didn't want to do anything else but play Mike Tyson Punch Out. So, but there was other things that I wanted, and I didn't get it. I didn't get every He-Man that came out. Every He-Man character. I did get. Let me see. Our boy Coy, he got Man at Arms, right? And I had He-Man, and then we had I think Orion. He ended up getting Panther, and he had Skeletor and Castle. And what's the one that Skeletor lived in? You remember that one?
Castle. I mean, Snake Mountain.
Snake Mountain, yes, sir. He had Snake Mountain, but I was lucky enough to get Castle Grayskull too. So but I didn't get everything I wanted. Zach, Kevin Durant, he wants to leave the Nets. He wants to land in Miami and or Phoenix, right? One of those two he wants is his landing spot. So what we're gonna do is just go through all the landing spots that we think that he possibly could go to, and then also some that have been thrown out there and speculated for other teams. And we'll just give our opinions on it. I mean, we'll keep it real simple. But before we do that, Zach, we got to throw this news out there that just broke today too, and that was that DeAndre Ayton, and I think you shared this with me earlier, but DeAndre Ayton, it looks like things getting closer there between the Phoenix Suns and the Pacers. So it looks like he's getting close to landing an offer sheet from the Pacers. And it's a possibility that there'll be an executed sign or trade there. So I think we both are leaning towards Aiton, no longer being in Phoenix. And so that's also going to have a lot to do with Kevin Durant and his landing possibilities of landing in Phoenix and other places. All right. So with that said, Zach, let's go ahead and knock one of these out that's not going to happen because of a trade that happened with Rudy Gobert, but that's in Minnesota, and we're just going to touch on it for just a second, get that one out the way because we know that this is done deal. But there was a trade option out there where Kevin Durant was possibly going to Minnesota. It was thrown out there on the board, but then the Nets wanted Anthony Edwards, they wanted Karl Anthony Towns, and they wanted several first round picks. Um, what do you think about that? And did Minnesota do the right thing?
Well, I kind of think we should have maybe saved this for the end because now I feel like I'm the person that's going to be telling the kids that there is no Santa Claus. Uh, I'm going to go absolutely they did the right thing because you're not going to give up Towns and Edwards for Kevin Durant. Like the reality is, outside of Kevin Durant's time in Golden State, he's shown for as great as he is, he can't win you a title without sufficient help around him. Now he can get you to the finals because he proved that in OKC, but he's not necessarily getting you a championship if a championship is what you're looking for. And it, maybe more of a concern I think with Durant is he doesn't ever seem to be happy. Like he left OKC because he wanted to go win a championship. He gets to Golden State, wins the championship, his Finals MVP, and then he says, "Well, this isn't what I thought it was going to be. Like I thought it would be better." Won two of them. Turns out to be maybe unhappy in Golden State. Goes to Brooklyn. Supposedly he's going with Kyrie Irving. Happy to play with Kyrie Irving. Um, and now he's unhappy yet again. Got all his money. The organization bent over backwards for him. So how do you know if you trade for Kevin Durant? And this will go for all of the trade scenarios because it's kind of sort of going to apply as we see what is being offered for him. How do you know you don't get him in your organization and a year later he's like, I want to be traded again. I'm not happy here. And I think add to the fact too, he'll be 34, I believe, once we get into the season. He's an older guy, and as much as Kyrie has missed time for Kyrie reasons, Kevin Durant has had injuries and he's missed games because of that. So I'm not a big fan of Towns, but I'm not giving up Edwards and Towns for that. And I think now to
Yeah.
really answer the question, I'd give up Towns for Durant if I thought it would get me a championship. So I'm kind of shocked that it, there's not anything being given up for him like that. But as I highlighted, I think some people question how he will be once you get him into the organization. And maybe for whatever Towns lacks, at least you know what you're getting from him. And as far as Edwards, I like Edwards. We can go into maybe or go into more detail on some of these other young players when it comes up. But if Edwards likes Minnesota, I'm not giving him up right now.
Yeah. And I think also with all the draft picks included as well on top of that, and then you lose those, that's to me that's not putting if I'm Minnesota, that's not necessarily putting me in the championship equation, especially when you factor in that Golden State and Phoenix are also on that same side of the bracket. And then you still have the Lakers with the talent level. Then you have the Clippers coming back too. So from the Minnesota perspective, I'm thinking, hey, I'm giving up too much to get Kevin Durant to still navigate through, navigate through the West. You know what I mean? So you also got to look at the conference too, and I think that Minnesota did do the right thing in this case. Um, I'm not against them trying to get a Kevin Durant because how often will Minnesota get a player that caliber? They had to draft, Kevin Garnett. They drafted, Mike, and so like Minnesota. It's not like people just at that level for their eras will just walk into Minnesota. So I understand that, and I do understand from New Jersey. I mean, oh man, I'm telling my age, but from the
That's
Brooklyn side
okay.
of things, I can see where Brooklyn, hey, this is Kevin Durant, like it's top 3, 4 player in the league. I'm asking for it, and so that's where this is not a good balance. And so I think Minnesota made the right choice on this one, and we have to see what's next.
Okay. Before we go, I'm gonna ask,
Mm-hmm.
eh, and we'll forget the salary cap stuff just for a moment. And I like to get in all that, but uh, Kevin Durant for Towns, straight up, yes or no? If you're Minnesota,
Yes.
Kevin Durant for Edwards, straight up. If you're Minnesota,
Yes.
okay, then I would say they made a
If
mistake.
I'm keeping the other one, but see, they're giving up both of them. So
Well, that's what I'm saying. Then I would say, and it's still early in it, but if you can trade a star for someone else straight up and or other pieces, then you're probably making a mistake if you think that individual is really a star.
yeah. All right, your team. Again, Kevin Durant. We brought just out that Miami is on the list, right? So Miami is supposed to be high on this list along with Phoenix. So we're gonna slide over there and take a look at the Heat and a possible scenario for Miami, and we're gonna keep moving. Slide down here to Miami. We'll get back to that one later. But okay, Miami. All right,
I'm
there it is. Miami. All right.
oh, well, yes.
How does this roster look to you right here, Zach?
Well, I mean, I would take it. There's one guy in there I would. Well, look, there's really 1.5 guys in there I would want on Miami. But if you're telling me that's the roster, of course. But here's the thing, and I'll kind of be brief and go back to what you said. If Well, no, before I do that, where do you rank Kevin Durant? And forget last year in the NBA next year in his year 34 season. Where would you put him at as a player?
Currently this season, I mean,
No, no.
I have
I'm
Kevin
saying
Durant
going in.
personally.
I'm saying going into next season, where would you say he's gonna? Because like we know people gonna move up and down. Kind of like Edwards, you would expect Edwards to move up, and like honestly, I would expect LeBron to fall down some because of age. So guys are gonna move up and down. So that's what I'm saying. Going into next season, or maybe even halfway through the season, what what ranking, if you were to give one, do you think Kevin Durant will be like? Will he be top 20? Which I
Top
guess
three.
really we say that. You think so? You think at worst he'll be the third best player in the
Yeah, I think worst case.
NBA? Okay, then and
Given health and everything's rolling, yeah.
okay, so then if I'm the Nets, if he's the now, when you say third best player, and let me make sure,
Now that's
are we
okay.
saying he's just kind of like an all-star guy, or
No,
he's a first team all NBA type player that could
yes,
lead your team to a championship with the right pieces around him?
yes,
Uh,
absolutely.
then like you said earlier, if you're the Nets, you can't give him away for spare parts. And in that graphic you
Hmm.
showed me, that's great for Miami. Like if
Yeah.
I am a Heat fan, but we'll take that. But you're telling me you're gonna do a trade for Kevin Garnett? I mean, damn, Kevin Durant, and and
Not
you get to
Garnett,
keep
Zach.
Bam. Yeah, you get to keep Bam. Yes, it's not the Celtics anymore. You get to keep Bam. You get to keep Jimmy. I'm not a big Kyle Lowry fan, but you get to keep Kyle Lowry. So the only thing you're giving up is Tyler Hero and or whatever else these dudes are that would nobody want anyway. That if we watched them in the playoffs, like be like, stop it. And you're doing it maybe for cap space. Who's coming to Brooklyn as a free agent anyway? Like it's in the city. Like you can't get free agents to come to the Knicks. So I great for Miami, terrible for the Nets.
All right. Well, that's your team. I want you to talk about that one. I think that's probably the least likely landing spot. I know Pat Riley's he's always gonna, dig the crates, as my boy Rodney says, from Atlanta, Georgia. Rodney Williams,
What
dig
up,
the
Rodney?
crates. That's it. Yeah, that's Rodney saying, especially in our fantasy basketball league, he loves to say that, and we try to see who digs the deepest. But Pat Riley's always going to try. He's
Yes.
always going to make that attempt. But in order to pull it off, you're right. There's a lot that has to be done there to make that happen. And unless the Nets have no other choice, I don't see them shipping Kevin Durant to Miami, and they're able to keep those pieces there. Because even a Lowry would look really good playing with Kevin Durant, even in with limited minutes and things like that. I think he would be still a good fit there. I mean, they'll be top
Oh,
heavy, but hey,
well,
look
yeah.
how heavy that top. But look how heavy that top is. You know what I mean? So that would be an interesting thing because you also would have defenders. Like Bam and Butler. They're kind of a tough guys. And Durant can really just continue to do his thing. Plus, he's a solid defender and he's a good off ball shot blocker for his position. That would be nice, but I'm with you on that. I think that is unlikely to happen.
Well, you love to talk about roles and players in their roles, and I give you credit that you are absolutely correct. Individuals, like everybody thinks that when you're the best player, that's actually being a role player. Your role is to be the best player. Kevin Durant showing up gives them consistent scoring. Like you should say, probably 24 points a night. And you're right. A guy like Kyle Lowry now can slide back and you don't have to worry about as much. I think we talk about this a lot, or we say about Clay. Like Clay gets to collect his $40 million paychecks and he can go out some nights and be a 14, 16-point scorer, though he does, at least previously, he would, he's playing the other team's best perimeter player trying to save Steph. But you don't
Yeah,
really say that he can slide in that role. Golden State wins, and it's not a big deal. It only becomes a big deal when Golden State loses and Now all of a sudden you look at the scoreboard. Well, Clay only had 14 points. So that's the great thing about a Durant. For any of these teams that he may go to, like as you said, the role is the big thing, and he changes everybody's role.
Absolutely. All right, let's go to his other favorite spot now, the Phoenix Suns. This is actually a spot that I would like to see him in. I would like to see him in that system over in Phoenix. It's kind of a wide open play. I think he would be a nice fit there. Not surprised that's on his list, but how do you see this one panning out, Zach? Uh, Durant to Phoenix.
I was trying to pull up the details, and I don't have that. But supposedly, what they say is because you have Ben Simmons, and I think Ben Simmons is on some rookie extension or whatever, that you can't get another player that would be on a rookie extension, a la uh, Devin Booker. And I guess what I don't understand is this: if the Phoenix Suns don't want DeAndre Ayton, if I'm the Nets, why would I want DeAndre Ayton? Like all of these trades, when you're telling me a guy is the number 3 player in the world, uh, doesn't excite me. I do think this Pacers thing with the sign and trade or whatever, or I'm sorry, potentially signing Ayton to a offer sheet actually helps this. Now it could stick the Suns, but they'll get to see what his actual market value is, and he'll be signed. And at that point, they can match it. Uh, I guess the scare for the Nets, I mean, sorry, for the Suns would be if the Nets don't want Ayton, now you're stuck with him, and it seems that you don't want him, though I guess you could trade him later on. The Nets could do worse than getting Ayton. I guess. But for the Suns, look, we're gonna go once again. For the Suns, it's gonna be awesome. Like any of these teams that are giving up those minimal assets, Chris Paul, Booker, um, and Durant, that's a great one, two,
Yeah,
three in the one, two,
yeah.
three that you would have. And it saves, I think, Chris Paul's legs, excuse me, a little bit more. And once again, you got a guy that's gonna come in and give you more scoring punch. And as much as I like Ayton, probably in that Phoenix system, you can, as you love to tell me, you can find any 7-footer to kind of go get rebounds or block shots or do whatever and dunk the basketball on a pick and roll.
Look, Bismack Biyombo, he was
Yeah.
putting up double doubles when he was filling in this season for Phoenix when Ayton was out for various reasons. And so, and Chris Paul has a track record. He has a track record of helping bigs perform well and eventually get paid. And the thing about with Ayton, it does seem like he's out of there. And I like what you said too about the Nets. They don't. I don't think they want Ayton. I don't think they want to get into a bidding war with Ayton and all that kind of stuff. So I think it does take a third team to get involved. So I kind of like this deal here where Ayton can go to another team. And in this case, it would be Atlanta. Kevin Durant goes to Phoenix. So I think both those teams get something that they need, right? That they want. And then, but look at the Nets. You have John Collins, you have Bridges, you have Cam. You get multiple picks. A lot of those come from Phoenix. You probably can get something out of from Atlanta as well. So what the Nets would get is enough talent to still be a 7-8 seed. Have some young up and coming pieces right there with Bridges, Cam, Collins, and then you have the picks. And so I think the Nets, even though they don't get that superstar back in return, you do get a lot of solid players along with the picks. So it seems like even if this isn't the exact deal here, it's got to be some kind of 3-team deal to make it work, in my opinion. I feel like it's got to be a landing spot somewhere for Ayton in order for Durant to land in Phoenix. And then the Nets have to they may not get all those picks from one team, but a combination of 2 teams plus talent. I think that's the only way it's going to really get done, in my opinion. But that's the route to Phoenix for me.
And I think going forward with any of these trades, you are correct. I think for Durant, it's probably going to have to be a 3-team trade so that the Nets get more in return. Because we kind of we we hit on it just a smidge earlier, but really didn't go into it. The problem that happened for the NBA was that Rudy Gobert went to Minnesota, and what did they get? Like 4 or 5 picks for Rudy
Yeah, they got a ton of
Gobert, and then
picks.
all
Yeah,
like so now if you're the Nets GM, if you don't go get a haul for Kevin Durant, it looks like you lost the trade.
yeah. But like you got to jump on the right team at the right time. I mean, I remember playing fantasy football some years ago when we started implementing trades. I came up with a trade scenario that turned the league upside down, Zach. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you the story real quick. So I wanted back in these days. I think it was Sean Alexander, which you remember him. He played
I
for my
do.
Seahawks. And Priest Holmes. Remember how Priest Holmes was on fire? He would score 3 touchdowns a game. Somewhere in there, he was a touchdown machine. So I wanted to get like the number one and the number two pick in the draft. I won like the number two pick in the lottery. So now I'm trying to figure out how can I get the one pick. So I traded my number two, my number three, and my number four. So I was gonna sit out 3 straight rounds, and the team that I was trading with was gonna have no picks in the first round because they're gonna give me theirs. But then they were gonna have 2 picks in the second, two in the third, two in the fourth. So they pretty much that's
Okay.
6 players, right? So that's pretty much your
Yeah.
fantasy team within the first what before round by the time round four is over, you pretty much filled your starting lineup. Who cares about the kicker? Anybody get that, right? So, like you're loading up, you're loaded. And in return, I was getting those two backs, and I was banking on in round five, I was gonna get, maybe get savvy and pick up a couple players. And now I got my stud backs, and then I got good pieces around that, just trying to be a good GM. So it backfired, right? My team didn't do anything, but it, but it's the fact that it's setting up this trade, right? So
Yes.
everybody was up in arms about it because it's like, wow, how you gonna let this team get 6 picks by round four? And I'm like, hey, I don't care. You know what I'm saying? This is what I wanted, and that's where it
Yes.
looked like what happened with the with Utah. I mean, with Minnesota, they got what
Minnesota.
they wanted. They wanted Gobert, and they were gonna give up all their picks, to get them. And so they got what they wanted. Utah was in the right place, right time. They wanted to move somebody, and they got what they wanted, which was a lot of picks. And so
Correct.
for Brooklyn, they kind of just missed out on the opportunity there. You know what I mean? And if they could have, woulda, coulda, they maybe should have jumped on Minnesota before Utah did, and maybe they do get Durant and they get all those picks in return. So that that's my little story there. But the whole irony of the Utah Minnesota trade, and as you said, now it turned the market, it flipped things now. But it's kind of late to ask because what team you going to ask that has those picks?
Well,
I don't know
the
how many teams have enough picks to give you like that.
the only thing I'm gonna say is it's not late to ask because Kevin Durant is still under contract for 4 more seasons. So it if you're the Nets, you can play this out and you just see what happens. Like you don't have to give him away.
Right, you
I
don't
would, in
have
fact,
to.
and I will be disappointed if they do give him away because you have control and you have to do what's best for your organization. But what you said is absolutely correct. Like you got to find the right fit. I do think the longer they hold on to him,
Yeah.
um, the more like it's summer right now. There's no basketball games being played, anything like that. Um, for whatever reason, Chris Paul hurts his ankle or something, that can change your market or
Yeah.
like anything. And we haven't talked about it too much, but like the Lakers, uh, like right now, I hear that they don't have a huge urgency maybe to give up a lot for Kyrie Irving. But if you let this
Right.
go into the season, they still have Westbrook. Uh, I think the Lakers would be better with Westbrook, but let's say for whatever after 30 games, they're like 10 and 20. Now they're going to want to give you a little bit more or what have you. Just any of the
Yeah.
other teams too. And we know how this plays out. I think we saw that with Ben Simmons this year. Like you let it keep going, you let it keep going. I'm not sure who won that trade now, but the 76ers did end up getting I guess something
But
for
Harden.
him. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we'll see, Zach. And man, we got another location we need to talk about. And this is probably an unlikely spot, but it does require multiple teams, which is something that that Brooklyn needs to really dig into. And I think they'll take advantage of being at the summer league. Talking with multiple general managers and so on. But the Utah Jazz, okay, we just talked about them. They they gave up a lot of picks, right? So it's gonna have to require a lot of players moving around. But here's a scenario. It's kind of a wild one, but I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, what do you think? You got Durant and Ayton in Utah. Kyrie goes to the Lakers. Brooklyn gets Westbrook. They get Horton Tucker. They get a ton of picks, as you
well,
can see down there, because there's three teams involved here. But I
well,
don't
the
know about
thing,
this. I don't know about Simmons and Phoenix though. But go ahead.
yeah, and that's what stuck out to me. Like you gonna have Chris Paul and Simmons playing together. I mean, unless Simmons is ready to I guess a transition to maybe a uh Draymond Green type role, which I actually think would be perfect for him, where he's going to play the four and he's going to kind of operate like that. It then any place he goes, we kind of know he's going to be a ball handler. I do think I, I, I yeah, I'm gonna be that person that says it. Why would anybody help the Lakers? Like I don't understand. In everything that comes out is like everybody wants to help the Lakers, or I'm sorry, that everybody should help the Lakers. But why does anybody need to help the Lakers get off of Russell Westbrook? Because you tell me, and you're a Lakers fan, is Russell
Yes,
Westbrook
I
a
am.
good player or not a good player?
I think he's a very good player
Okay,
in a situation that doesn't fit him.
if
But I
he's
don't
a
think you should. But I oh, I'm sorry. But if I'm another team, I'm not kicking down the doors trading for him at this stage of his career, knowing that I got to pay him what I'm paying him. So that's the if I'm another team, I stay away from it mainly because of his salary.
okay, I like the salary part doesn't bother me too much since it's a 1 year thing. But I just kind of feel like the Lakers are constantly trying to kick him out the door. Why
Yep.
would you give him up? Now I know why the Kyrie thing comes up with the Lakers. Kyrie is a malcontent, so you're gonna get rid of him, and we'll have a second hour to talk about this. But I kind of think, uh, and I won't go too much into this, but if the Nets were to go into the season and let this play out, say for 20 plus games, they just run everything back, everybody. You have Ben Simmons, Lord willing, on the floor, Kyrie Irving at your two, Durant at your 3/4, whatever he would be. Joe Harris, I guess, would be the starter, maybe you got some combination of Durant, Curry, Kyrie, and Simmons, and then whoever their big guy is going to be. I'm not sure. I don't know if it's going to be Claxton or whoever. And then you bring Harris off the bench. How do we know that won't work for them? Or if you just let that play out for 20 games, you increase the value of some of these other individuals, or you make Kevin Durant happier. Maybe Kyrie is happy for a minute. I'm just like, if they let this play, maybe it works. And if it doesn't work, who was the guy that you said the Spurs are kind of sort of tanking for? That's from France.
Vim Vim Memwana or something like that.
It,
Yeah.
if it goes bad for you, if you're like, say for whatever Kyrie say he ain't gonna show up, Ben Simmons is still having the back issues and mental issues or whatever, he don't play. And Durant's just like, hey, I would prefer to stay home until maybe we find something. Ain't you in the lottery opportunity for that young man that's supposed to be so damn good? So
Yeah.
I think
And
that scenario
opportunity.
right there that was wild. And I know you said that one is low. I don't think I my guess is the Nets figure out what's going to happen with Durant first. And then once they figure out what's going to happen with, like, I think it'll be the Irvin and Durant will be two separate trades, will be my guess. Once they figure out what happened with Durant, you either keep Irving because they want to play together, supposedly, or you go on and ship Irving out if Durant doesn't want to play with him.
Yep.
And,
So
and
sounds like no Utah.
well, and I'd say too, who wants to be a millionaire in Utah? You don't go to Utah
I
and
do.
well, but yes, but if you could be a millionaire in Utah or be a millionaire in some place that's not Utah, my guess is you go choose some place that's not Utah.
Yes, sir. All right. Well, we still got a couple more places to talk about besides Utah.
Okay.
A couple landing spots. Probably in the state of New York, state of California. There's some other locations that we're going to discuss in hour number 2. And so, Zach, I'll see you on the other side, and all our listeners will catch you in just a few minutes for
Yes,
hour number
sir.
2 of the
Thank
Sportz
you.
Brothas. See ya.